All right, welcome everyone. Today is 21st June and we are meeting for CICD bi-weekly UX meeting. I'll start off with making a mention of some of the announcements that Hannah has put in the agenda. The first one is like there's a mid-year check-in in process. It started like 12th of June and it's going on. And what we'll be using for these check-ins is our regular one-on-one agendas. So and this process is led by team members. That means we have to just go there, fill in our achievements, strengths, support needed, and opportunity areas since the last formal assessment. And besides that, there's another one, like there's a 360 feedback that is going to be launched in July. There's not a lot of details available right now, but Hannah will keep us posted. Yeah, coming to questions, I see one from Gina. Gina, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I can voice it, and then whenever Hayana listens to this, I'm sure she'll answer. When I was filling out the career development plan issue template, which was the one after the individual growth one, it included like a Q1 portion of it. And we've already completed that this year. So I'm wondering if we should include goals for next Q1 instead there. If anybody has already filled it out or is going to, I'd appreciate like if whatever you end up doing, just let me know.
Yeah.
I chatted with Hayana this morning about this because I had the same question. I'm like, oh, it's almost Q3 and the top thing says Q1. She says you could also just break that down into months too. So like you'll be doing something in like July and August. She kind of put the quarters there as like a template, but if you want to break it down differently into months and stuff like that, you can do it as well.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
That's a better answer than what I was going to say, so I'll just skip. Okay, so what sequence are we following today is like Erica and Will are going to go first because I remember we did it did it different way last time. So Erica, to you.
Will you go first?
Sure. So mostly my updates are about things that other people are working on at the moment. So participated in Emily's design sprint over the past 2 weeks. I've told her this, but she really did a great job, from start to finish. And it was great to be a part of that process. All the activities that she put together were really great. It was my first time doing a design sprint. And I'm really excited that we came out of that sprint with a prototype that was tested internally, but also we plan to test it with customers. So I'm assisting on the linked solution validation issue that Emily has started drafting. I'm also supporting Ollie with his solution validation testing on the onboarding experience that we've talked about in past meetings and looked at in Figma. So right now we're developing the screener, and I think he's also planning to work on the discussion guide, which I'll help out with. And then the last one is that the PM for Switchboard, Lauren, who started, I think about a month and a half, 2 months ago, when she was onboarding, she completed some internal team member interviews to get some feedback on the current experience related to dedicated and how that process is very manual. Onboarding customers to at that time was more of like a limited access product, but now we've just gone live as of I think last week with dedicated. Is open to all customers. And she's just recently finished the research and added insights to the issue, so I linked that one as well. Any comments or questions?
I do. I have once, you said we have gone live with dedicated. Is it the same thing that Ali was working on? Like, is it live now?
No, that's a good question. So this just means that dedicated as a product was previously something that was like limited access to, I think we only had like 3 or 4 customers that were actually on dedicated, and it just went general access or GA. So it means that like anybody who's interested can sign up. That's a little bit different from what Ali is making with Switchboard, which is more of like a automated onboarding process, or kind of self-guided onboarding process, which will certainly help people as they transition onto dedicated. And that's something that we're going to build as an MVC in the next couple of milestones. But yeah, that's a good distinction, that dedicated is a little bit different from Switchboard, where it's kind of connected but a little bit different.
Okay, and they're getting some sort of assistance right now?
It's so manual right now. Basically, like our sales reps are kind of walking through different parts of the process with customers.
Okay.
And it's so much like back and forth over email, like trying to track down information that they require in order to set up that instance. And so that's why like having this onboarding experience will really help take off some of that manual burden off of our sales team.
Got it. Thanks, Will. Thanks for answering. Cleared a lot of
Yeah,
confusion for me.
yeah, that's a good question. Any other questions before I hand it over to Erica?
Okay. So if you haven't yet, and I think everyone could participate in this who's on the call now, but this is the first week of the AI user needs and AI fit workshop. It's a little redundant, but basically the idea is we're going to answer these questions in this survey. There's 2 surveys for this dedicated feature that we've decided to like go through the process with. So the idea is just to learn about what's a good fit for AI. And the long answer is it depends on how we design things. And so that's opened up. So if everyone wants to complete that, there's 2 surveys, that'd be good. And you guys can, if you don't even want to, hopefully Gina and Vithika will participate, but if all the rest of y'all want to look and just see what we're doing, I think it's like helpful just to see what those workshops look like. And then just calling out kind of just so Hayana knows that I'm so excited about this, but we figured a way to differentiate against one of our key competitors for our GitLab native secrets solution. And it's something that we've already called out, and I like created a deck about it. And then we like finally heard from customers, this is something that we really struggle with in a key competitor. Bless you, Gina. And then to me, that makes sense, like why I would be very familiar and why that like problem would keep resonating with me. So, but we're all like aware that we need to like figure out how to work together on this. I'm sure we will, but we just want to like make sure we're minding it so we don't get backed into a design corner by accident. So I just thought I would put it in the agenda there. And then Tina and I are having so much fun working on the mental models research for runners. And she's going to check in with Sun Yoon today to see if she can like combine efforts with the mental modeling research for pipeline authoring. So anything I can do to support that collaboration, but it depends on availability. So, and then last but not least is a feedback request that I was hoping people would fill out, just to help me focus on tell me what to focus on in the upcoming quarters.
You're muted, Vitika.
Thank you. Thanks, Erika, for like, especially for the deck, because I am personally interested in that for the differentiation. And I wanted to make a mention that I have highlighted, like there's a tag in my new research project on Dovetail with the variables and environments. And today I'll be processing those into insights, and I'll be sharing with Emily. Okay, so moving upwards, Sunjung is not attending, but she has a couple of items here that you can take a look at. It's about the design sync that she was, like there was a design sync around CI catalog, and the other one is solution validation for how users would want to publish their CI components to the catalog. Both interesting ones. And next up is me. So we interviewed 9 participants last week for the solution validation research for variables. It was like specifically about the new layout that we were designing for presenting the variables on the project setting page, because that's where users get to see custom variables defined at 2 levels, projects and group or subgroup. So the inherited and the native to the project ones. And it went really well. Like, at least I was not expecting to speak with 9 participants all in 1 week. There were no-shows. There were technically, but then they rescheduled and we still got to talk. So one learning that I would want to share is send a follow-up email a few hours before the scheduled meeting. That really helps. Just like stating that looking forward to talking to you in the upcoming interview and something like that. Yeah, the issue and Dovetail project link is tagged here if you are curious for what's happening there, but I'll hopefully record a video by end of today and post. So my goal is to like wrap up this one and wrap up the sketching exercise before I leave for the conference next week. And apart from that, I have also written a blog with Peyton on the work that we did for beautifying of our UI. Good thing is I met with Jackie yesterday and she mentioned that customers are noticing it and they are happy with the changes. So it was scary. I am going to be speaking at PenPot Fest. It's a tool which is an open source prototyping tool, but they recently they got funding last year and they have gone GA, I think in January, they had this official launch. So there'll be a lot of organizations present there like us, like Red Hat, GitHub. It will be an interesting gathering and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's happening in Barcelona, end of June. And if no other questions, we can move to Emily.
Cool. So I know I already reviewed this during our feedback session yesterday, but the 3 days of the design sprint we finished up the last week or the week before. I'm losing track of weeks at this point. But we kind of have the highlights from the hallway testing summarized. So just to give some context, hallway testing is the 3rd day of the design sprint where I get everyone in the sprint to kind of meet with a potential persona at GitLab and give an interview. So we have some highlights from those 3 interviews. And then the next steps here is to run a round of solution validation over 16.2 and 16.3. So currently working with Will to put together that testing plan in this milestone. The second one, some of you might have seen this in the UX channel, but we're celebrating not moving forward with a concept. So we're deciding not to move forward with the group level environments concept. mostly because we realized partway through these interviews and with kind of stuff that came out of the design sprint that we were moving forward with a concept on top of a feature that wasn't very strong initially. So I think what we want to do is go back, really perfect the environments feature itself, and then move forward with something at the group level versus kind of building on top of a feature that's not working currently. So that's kind of the outcome of that. And the final one is I'm looking to put together a mini design sprint training guide. Just wondering if anyone is interested in kind of being a pilot for that.
Yeah, I mean, what we are planning, Erica and I, it's going to be very different in nature, but I think the general guidance around that is going to be very helpful for us.
Cool. Yeah, because I'm gonna plan to just put everything into like a template and kind of share that out with like best practices. So I can start with like just our immediate team before sharing it out with anyone like further than that.
Yep. I think in Switchboard would definitely benefit from it.
So, and that's all for me. Unless anyone has any other questions, I can give it to Gina.
All right, I have been, I actually talked about this a little bit yesterday in UX Weekly, but the whole runner dashboard MVC has been quite a ride because we have run into a lot of issues performance-wise, but I know I've been still fighting for the things that I learned from research when we did solution validation around this feature. So we know that the metrics we're showing are the right ones. We just need to figure out how to implement it, come up with a POC using Postgres, which is our database that we currently use, and go from there. So we'll see how it goes. And then my other note here is about the mental model research that Erica brought up. I met with her yesterday and I'm very excited for this because there's been a lot of like heavy discussions happening internally on the runner team about disagreements on the terminology we use for different parts of runner. So we're going to focus on mostly external users to understand how they think about runner concepts without using GitLab specific terminology. And we'll be talking with people who have not used GitLab before, so it will be more general. And then we're also going to ask just 5 internal GitLab team members. And we set out a plan that has 4 parts, which I'll send an update once I update the Qualtrics survey. But the first part will be a card sort, just like the typical ones that we usually see where you're grouping terms and then you name the groups. And then ranking order of importance of concepts. I think we have a list of 16 or 18 even right now. But maybe minus the duplicates, it would be less. I think that's what it is. And then we're going to do a fill in the blank section, kind of like Mad Libs, but not really. And then matching the concepts to terms. So we'll have like a list of the concepts and the terms and they'll match them together. So today I'll be doing that, like putting that survey together. Ollie, do you want to voice that? That's probably a good...
Yeah. So yeah, cool. So I guess I'll do my section.
Yeah.
So I'm working on finalizing our solution validation that we're going to do for the designs that I've been sharing over the past few weeks. So yeah, doing prep work, working on the screener discussion guide and recruiting. And then I'm also working on story mapping for Switchboard. Initially, I'm going to do a pass and then I'll do it with the team next. So yeah, hoping to get that done this week. And then I'll share with everyone as well.
Yeah. Can you elaborate a little like what you are like trying to achieve through the story mapping exercise?
Yeah. so we know that beyond onboarding, there are certain things that we want customers to be able to do, such as further customizing their dedicated instance, also customizing when they want to do maintenance, and then providing monitoring for their dedicated instance and some logs. And there's also some other tasks that we also want them to do. So we just want to map what that will look like. Yeah, and yeah, have a discussion with the team and see what everyone has been thinking. Because yeah, it seems everyone has different thoughts on what Switchbot should and should not do. So I think this will be a great starting point.
Thanks for indulging me. This was good because I have never done like specific exercise for like a story mapping exercise for any of the things. So I was just thinking like, can I? Like getting some inspirations from you.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Anyone has any questions or anything else to discuss? All right, then with this, I'll stop the recording.